Okay, gotta go here. Yep, gotta go. All right, good evening. The hour of 6:30 PM having arrived, I will call to order this regular meeting of the Planning Board. This meeting is being broadcast live on the City of Keene YouTube channel. The video is also streamed on the city's website and is posted on the website by the end of the next business day, barring any technical difficulties. Anyone wishing to view a copy of the agenda and supporting materials, will find it on the city website. To receive electronic copies of future agenda packets, please go to the homepage and subscribe to the city meetings email list. The public and other board members will be recognized to ask questions and make comments on the agenda item under discussion. After being recognized, all remarks are to be made through the chair. Will staff please conduct the roll?
Harold Farrington,
Here.
Roberta Mastrogiovanni,
Here.
Mayor Jay Kahn, Armando Rangel, Sarah Vazani,
Here.
Ryan Clancy, Councilor Michael Remy, Ken Cost,
Here.
Stefan Mayhew, Michael Hafer,
Here.
Randon Markelon, and Tammy Adams.
Okay, noting that we have the available space, I'm going to ask Mr. Hafer if he would be so kind as to become a voting member for this evening's meeting. If you could just make a note of that. Great. Okay. On to the minutes of the May 27, 2025 meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the May 27, 2025 meeting?
I'd like to move to approve the minutes of the meeting from May 27th, 2025.
Thank you. Ask for a second.
Can second.
Thank you, Ms. Fasani. Okay, any questions, comments, or changes to the May 27, 2025 minutes? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? Minutes are approved for May 27, 2025. Okay. Next on the agenda is a final vote of conditional approvals. As a matter of practice, the board will issue a final vote on all conditionally approved plans after all of the conditions precedent have been met. This final vote will be the final approval and will start the 30-day appeal clock. Ms. Fortson, any applications tonight that are ready for a final vote?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There are no applications that are ready for a final vote this evening.
All right, thank you. We will proceed. Okay. Now on to our public hearing portion. One public hearing tonight. It's a change of governmental land use. RSA 674-54 regarding the proposed use of the 2.67 acre parcel at 0 West Street, TMP number 577-047-000 for temporary construction material storage during the Island Street infrastructure project. This site will be used in addition to the storage area at 0 Island Street, TMP number 583-018-000, that was presented to the board in May of 2024. The property is owned by Public Service of New Hampshire, doing business as Eversource, and is in the Commerce District. Okay. So. Yep. Just give us 1 second. Does staff have recommendation for completeness?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is Megan Fortson, planner. So this type of application is a little bit different in the sense that it's more of a notification to the planning board of the fact that there is going to be a governmental use on a piece of private property. So there's no completeness vote. It's more so for Mr. O'Brien to come before the board, describe the project, and you can ask any questions and he can try and answer them. And then really you'll be providing non-binding recommendations in the form of a motion.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. All right, so at this point, I will invite the applicant to discuss the project with us. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, TJ O'Brien, Infrastructure Project Manager for the City of Keene. So essentially, Island Street is having a full infrastructure. They're redoing all the infrastructure on Island Street from the bridge to West Street as part of the Upper Winchester Street project. The tie-ins were just left there, so now this is to tie it in to complete the whole Island Street bridge and everything. The space that we had from May 2024 is just not large enough, and to be quite honest, safe to allow our contractor to mobilize and work in a safe environment.
Good, good. And I saw the pictures in there. Board members have questions for Mr. O'Brien? Ms. Visani?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. TJ, do you typically mark off or like have a fence around or some sort of safety precaution that goes around these things, just for the layman person? Around the storage of the materials?
Yeah, we'll have to have silt fencing.
Can you turn on your microphone, please?
Sorry. They'll have to have silt fence in place to make sure that no wash off happens. As far as like just fencing for like visualization, we didn't really plan for that. We were probably gonna do double silt fence, wood chip berms or whatever to make sure that none of the material ends up into, because it is close to the river, to make sure none of that gets in there. But the proximity is really, the best part.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, I was just trying to orient myself on the map that's in the package. So this is actually north of West Street,
Yes.
the
Yes,
plot.
so it's like Melanson's, where Melanson's building it, it's a lot right next to it.
Okay.
I believe actually Melanson's is leasing some space just for employee parking at this point, but other than that, it's just an empty lot.
All right. So I was some reason looking for Island Street, but
I tried to like pull it back
No, it's
to
fine.
orient it, but
Mr. Cost?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm just looking at the map. Is it the red square? The red square is it?
yeah, correct.
Okay.
So the lot is much bigger than the red square. The red square is just the area that they're looking to store materials for the duration of the project.
And the rest of the lot?
Is not going to be touched for this
Okay,
purpose.
So they're just going to go in that red square?
Yeah, like I said, Melanson's, I think, is using some of the space, leasing some space from Eversource for their employee parking.
Thank you.
Ms. Master Giovanni?
How long will that staging or that area be there for?
That's a good question. So it shouldn't be any longer than November. We do have in place with the contractor the potential for work to happen in the spring because weather is always an issue. But at that point, that would be like kind of final paving, stuff like that, where material would no longer need to be stored. Everything that would be stored there would already be in the ground, in place. And so that would be November, the latest.
Mr. Chairman.
Oh, Mayor Khan.
Greetings. Nice to see you in that seat. So as I recall, this is a great spot to put your kayak in and paddle down the Ashwilla River. Is that your recall?
I do not recall that, but certainly we can make sure that there's not any, that we're not hindering people from doing that. You know, I don't know if there is a spot there, but if there is, we'll make sure that our contractors are well aware that, I mean, they're gonna wanna be away from it anyway, so there should be space for people to go around. But as far as using that as a boat ramp launch, you know, or kayak launch, I can't speak to that because it's not my property specifically,
All
or
right,
our property.
so let me get a little bit more definitive.
Sure.
People generally will often, I have anyway, I don't know, I haven't done it in a while, pull in there, drop their kayak, pull out, go over to the bank parking lot or New Hampshire Trust
Park over there.
and park over there. Because you're downstream of the fall.
Sure.
Yeah. So that's the conflict that I see. If it, I mean, we've kind of agreed that this is generally the right area for a laydown,
Right.
being on one side of West Street. This is on the other side of West Street, okay? But the communication needs to be pretty good.
Yes, I agree with that. I mean, it is not city property for one. I guess it would technically fall under private property. So I don't know that I would have any regulation on allowing people to get onto, you know, Eversource's property. You know, we're using it for our stage down. If other activities are happening, I don't know that how much, you know, say I have in that, to be honest.
And you may not, it's a matter of what the public needs to hear. So I think as a project manager, you're speaking to the group here.
Okay. Yes, sure.
I think investigating what the alternative location is for dropping in would be a good idea.
And that, yeah, that'll certainly be something I'll look into to make sure that if there is that area, which I trust that there is, we can make sure that whatever is happening there does not affect that area.
Ms. Fasani?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to second that. So every year we do put in there, and we actually park, we both go down to Matthews Road, and we go all the way to Matthews Road. So at least once a year. So that tiny little walkway that is off of the corner of that property, that's the only part that really people need access to, because they're just a kayak. So it's not a lot of room you need. So if that fencing was up, you could still sneak a couple kayaks through and go right down there. That's totally fine. It just would need to be, people would just need to be aware that they could still do that, I guess.
Yeah, and I think we can put that in as part of our, you know, our press release, which, you know, was released. We've been pushed back a couple of weeks, but yeah, we can make sure that that's all well known, and also I can let the contractor know that, especially if you guys can give us, like, you're mentioning a specific event, then we can certainly, like, make sure that that's known. You're still able to utilize this space. You know, don't think that this construction, you know, fencing is deterring you from that. And obviously, public safety is the first number one, so if there are kayakers or people coming during the week, during business hours, I will certainly make sure that our contractor is well aware of that and make sure that they allow, you know, their access.
Thank you.
So, Ms. Fasani, just so I understand, you're talking about just the north of the red box where the sort of
Yes.
looks like a
so,
path there?
Right, we
Oh,
would
yeah,
go
there is
into
a
that
path.
parking lot and we would go on that little walkway that would then go behind and connect you over to Starbucks with a bridge. So, but it would only be maybe, I'm really bad with guessing, but I think 25 feet, like from the end of it. It's a very short amount of time that we'd go, and then we'd put in down there because it was the least steep space to do so.
Okay.
And clearly after the falls.
No, that makes sense. And it's also in our contractors' like best interest to stay as far away from the river as possible. Because nobody wants any kind of EPA fines or, you know, any other, you know, things to stop a project from moving forward. So I will certainly have those conversations with our contractor, make sure that access is available to that specific area.
Good, good. Yep, I think that's all we're asking for at this point. Other questions? So we're not voting, correct? We were just giving him those ideas.
If I may, Mr. Chair.
Yeah,
This
please
is
do.
Megan Fortson, planner. So we did draft a recommended motion. I think just to make it the most clear on the record for the Public Works Department, if you could make a motion that lists your recommendations and then vote on that, that would make it the most clear.
Okay, but based on the conversation, we're gonna add another simple recommendation?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
all right. Do you, are you comfortable with
So we're just
capturing the third
basically
one?
adding, ensure access.
To the river
kayak,
for
or
kayakers,
something.
yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Excuse me, Jay Kahn. I think for non-motorized boating, yeah, I mean, I think that would do it. Maintain access for non-motorized boating.
Okay. Mr. Bryan, sure.
So also just, I will make sure with the contractor that it's, silt fence is not a safety fence. Silt fence is obviously just to try to make sure dirt doesn't spill where it's not supposed to go for the most part. If I go and look at it and realize that there may need to be some more like safety fencing for access to that area, I will certainly make sure that that happens. And if you like put that in there,
Okay.
then
Yeah. It's up to the board if you guys want to do that. Any opinions about a safety fence, Mr. Cost?
Yes, thank you. I recall talking about this last time, and we talked about safety fence, and, I mean, we were told that it's really not needed, and that you weren't going to do security around this, I think when it was at a different location. Is that, and so we talked about safety fencing, and I think at that point, it sounded like it's not needed, and you were still just talking silt fencing? Do I have that right? Okay, so maybe it's the same thing now, we don't need this safety fencing? Because even at the other location, there was a lot of pedestrian traffic and other stuff that was going right by it, so.
It's motorcycle season.
I have a motion.
Okay. Did you take a shot at
Yes, I think
third
that's-
bullet? Okay, good. So I will entertain a motion now at this time. Ms. Master Giovanni?
I would like to move that the following recommendations be shared with the City of Keene Public Works Department regarding the proposed use of the parcel at 0 West Street, TMP number 577-047-000 for temporary construction material storage with the following recommendations. Number 1, to install a double row of silt fencing in the area adjacent to the Ashwillet River. Number 2, to cover the piles of construction material when not in use. And 3, to ensure access to non-motorized recreational boating to the area, for the area.
Second?
Second.
Mayor Khan, thank you. Any discussions? Mr. Hafer?
I almost hate to belabor the point, or belabor the discussion, but this is PSNH property? Who owns the property?
Yes.
And is the city of Keene is it a permitted use? Is boat launching a permitted use on this property? Are we in a weird position if we're
Good
saying?
question, who knows?
is this sort of a don't ask, don't tell situation for boat launching?
I don't know if boat launching is in the code, is it? Ms. Fortson?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't know that, we really have.
Can you turn on your microphone, please?
There we go. I don't know that we really have too many aquatic uses that are defined in the land development code, to be honest. I think this is just sort of an incidental use to the main use of the property by Eversource.
Yeah.
But given that this is a governmental land use application, I'll call it, I think it's fine to make whatever comments or recommendations that you want to, because again, everything that the board recommends is still considered non-binding.
Okay.
So,
Great. Yeah, I guess I wouldn't make too big of a deal of it. Make sure people know that this is going to be a storage area, and the city's doing the best job it can to protect that area, and people who have used this before can do it. But I don't know. There's no signs up there. There's no like, here, park here for lunch or your stuff. So I guess we don't want to go overboard with how we communicate it, I guess.
Thank you. Other comments? Okay, so it's non-binding, but we'll call the vote anyway. All those in favor of the motion indicate. Any opposed? Okay. Have at it, Mr. O'Brien. Thank you for coming. All right. Next on the agenda is the update to the master plan. Ms. Fortson, are you prepared for that?
I am, yes, Mr. Chair. So right now, the consultant is working on updating the draft plan that was sent out to the Master Plan Steering Committee with all of the comments that the Master Plan Steering Committee members submitted. We hope to have an updated plan sent to us by July 1st, and then we're hoping to very quickly turn that plan around and send it out to the steering committee by July 2nd, in the hopes that by their July 15th meeting, they may be ready to provide a recommendation to the planning board that the plan be adopted and endorsed by city council. So those are the next steps, really, are to have the master plan steering committee meet again in July, review the plan, and if they're ready, make that recommendation to planning board. And then there's a whole series of dates, basically, where the planning board, you guys would have to vote to recommend that city council endorse the plan. We'll have to set a public hearing, and I won't go into all of those details unless you'd like additional information, but those are really the next big things, are for hopefully the master plan steering committee to make that final decision to move forward with the adoption and endorsement process.
Thank you. Any questions from the board? Most of us are kind of involved anyway. Okay, thank you. Moving right along to staff updates.
The only update I would say is that if you haven't already, I know it was mentioned by a few of the members this evening when they arrived. If you haven't already, please provide us with your comments on the site plan review thresholds whenever you have time.
Thank you for the reminder. Okay, new business. Anyone have new business? I have one item, for whatever it's worth. The state Office of Planning and Development, under the Business and Economic Advancement Department, has a lot of training. In fact, I just went through some recently and received a certificate. So I am state certified as a planning board person. So I would encourage you to at least take a look at that. Some of it is really esoteric in terms of what section of the RSA things are in, but a lot of it is good. It's useful. Ms. Fortson?
Yes, Mr. Chair, just to add on to that, so I think some of you may remember a few weeks ago I had sent out an email because the it's NHOPD, the Office of Planning and Development. It's changed names a whole bunch of different times. But they just had their 2025 Spring Planning and Zoning Conference. And so there were 3 different tracks. There was Planning Board, Zoning Board, and then there was a Historic Preservation track. And they actually have all of the video recordings from that training on their YouTube channel. So they're like an hour and 15 minutes each, an hour and 20 minutes. So if you didn't attend that training, I think that that's a really good resource, and I'm happy to send out the link. And then there's also a Planning and Zoning Board member sort of like handbook that you can read. So I can send out links
That's
to
this
those just so that people
handbook
have them, and you can take the
training.
test and become
Yeah,
and
thank you
become
for reminding us. I also did, in the past, attend the planning board track for that. So it's good. They go through a lot of good stuff. But if you would send out the link, I would appreciate that. Thank you. Okay. Cruising right along. Or, well, let me just ask, anyone else have any new business they would like to introduce? Okay. So we're now on upcoming dates of interest. So the next joint committee of the Planning Board and PLD will be July 14th at 6:30 PM in these chambers. Planning Board Steering Committee meeting is July 15th at 12 PM. That's a call. Planning Board site visit, July 23rd, 8 AM, which is dependent on whether we have sites that are deemed worthy of visiting for the upcoming July meeting. And then the next meeting of the Planning Board itself, of this body, July 28th, 6:30 PM in these chambers. And then I have one other one I'd like to mention. Southwest Planning Commission has a quarterly roundtable. It's on this coming Thursday, June 26th at 5:30 PM in the Chesterfield Old Town Hall. I plan to attend. I don't know if anyone else does, because we need to be careful to not have an accidental quorum. So I don't know if anyone else is planning to attend, but
What is
it's Southwest Planning. They have a roundtable where they get basically the area that they cover. They get all the planning board members together, as many as want, and they just go a typical roundtable, like what's going on in Keene, what's going on in Gilsum, whatever. Chesterfield is hosting, so I assume there'll be some representatives from Chesterfield there as well. So it's kind of a guided discussion by the SWPC folks. Anyway, it doesn't sound like anyone else is going to go, but that's good. We won't have to worry about making people wait outside. Okay, with that, we are at more time items. I think Ms. Fortson already mentioned potential modifications to the site plan review thresholds. I would encourage you to get your comments in. It's pretty easy. Just Ms. Brenner had sent out an email with specific questions, and I think if you answer those questions, we should be able to come to some sort of consensus, if there is one to be had, about any changes we'd like to make.
Do you have an approximate date of the email?
Oh,
I don't think that there,
yeah, go ahead.
thank you. This is Megan Worthing, planner. We don't have a drop dead date. I think that this is sort of a moving target at this point. So
No, the mayor was asking what date was Mary's email.
Oh, what date is Mary's email? I can send that out to you. I can look, I'm not sure what it was offhand, but I can
About a
find
month
it
ago.
in my inbox and I
About a
can
month
forward that.
Can you turn on your microphone, please?
I'm just not on the ball tonight. I'm sorry. I can look in my email, find it, and I can send it to everyone.
Yeah, along with the link that you're sending.
Yeah, along with the OPD State Planning Board information.
I suspect it was the day after our last meeting.
Yeah, I think so too.
So.
I just
a
can't
month-
seem
about
to
a
find
month
it in
ago.
my
Was-
I didn't
search.
answer it either. But that's my recollection, is I do recall seeing it.
I recall it. Okay.
Master plan, I see a million master plan things, but I don't see, yeah, it was probably right after the, so bear with me one sec, I'm just trying to find it.
June 16th.
June 16, you got it?
May 28th.
June 6th. Yeah, I think it's more,
May 28th.
May 28th.
May 28. You guys both found it, good.
Yeah.
You've got it.
Follow-up from
Quicker than
May
I am.
27, meeting, training slides, and SPR thresholds is the subject line. May 28th, 2:46 PM.
Okay, the second more time item was training on site development standards, snow storage and landscaping. That seems very far away from
Well, did
where we are at this moment
we,
in
didn't
a
we
lot of
cover,
ways.
didn't we cover that?
What's
I
that?
believe we covered that item.
Yeah, I think we did in the May meeting.
We did, yeah. We will have to update this agenda item to whatever the next
Training
two
item
site
is.
development standards are, and we can ignore them for some months and then come
Okay.
back to them.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, so at this time, I will, I think we're ready for adjournment, so thank you all for coming, and battling the heat. Great meeting, yeah, I know, better than the last one I did, which was like 9:30.